fourth apple day, I think, or fifth. Yeah, it's just grown in popularity every year. You get lots of people here who are really interested in what happens to apples, and they want to grow some, or they want to come juicing. So it's in a funny way, it's done a lot of good because people are now taking a bigger interest in what they do with their apples. They don't want to see them lying on the floor and going to waste. I like to think actually we've done a little bit of good in that respect. Yeah. So I started taking apples to the farmers' market, and that was fairly successful, and lots of people came here to buy apples to store for the winter, but nobody does that anymore, you see, so that all fell flat on its face.
So what apples have you been using here?
Those are James Grieve and
James
Grieve
he knows,
and Bramley.
It's a cooker, about equal cooker-eater mixture, which will produce a sort of very evenly balanced taste.
And it's for juice, not cider.
It's for juice. It's for juice. But you could make cider out of it, but it wouldn't be an ideal combination of apples.
There we go.
Cider apples are generally sweet apples.
I think it's lovely. We made some ourselves in our village, just as a village thing, and we used mostly cooking apples. And it was lovely, but it's very sour, and this is much sweeter. It's lovely.
The Ballston Centre, through Sue Place, came and asked if we would run a project in Henstridge, and we bought a press and a mill to chop the apples up. Other people interested in what happened to their apples started to come and bring their apples here and use our machinery, and made their own apple juice. And that's been tremendously successful and very enjoyable, because every week we get about 10 people coming, and I spend a couple of hours with them and show them what to do and so on. So it's worked very well. It's really great.
It's my task to see if I can identify some of the apples that people bring along. I've got several books on it here, and I'm an apple enthusiast, although not an absolute expert. There have been various apples today. I've had some successes with some of the apples that people have brought along, although there was one which I could just see that it had been grown from a pip. I was pretty sure it had, and if an apple grows from a pip, it's its own new apple type, and so it has no name at all. They said that it was growing on a tip. That gave me a clue straight away.
So how did you get involved with apples?
Oh, I got involved with Patricia some years ago. I met her at a farmer's market, and she said, "Well, I've got apples up the trees, but nobody will climb up a ladder nowadays for health and safety reasons." So I said, "Well, that's a poor do. I shall come round and give you a hand." So I got roped in. She's very good at roping people in. I've got roped in again today. We have a small orchard back at home. We have some trees, but they're young trees. The trees here, they might be 100 years old, but in our orchard they're 8 years old, so the trees are rather smaller.
And what sort of apples do they grow here? Are they all eaters, or?
No, they're not all eaters. They're all sorts. Some of them are eaters, some of them are cookers, and there's a few cider apples as well. So yes, all sorts.
Have you had any surprises with some of the apples people bring you today?
Yes, there was an apple that was brought in by a couple, and they said they thought it might be a Newton wonder, and sure enough it did turn out to be a Newton wonder. But when we looked up all the stuff about the Newton wonder, was that the person who originally raised it had the same name as these people. So they were just delighted about it. Maybe one of their relations.
It's a great thought, isn't it?
Yeah.
So have you had a good day here?
I have indeed, in my little horse box here. It's been fine.
Gorgeous. Nothing better than English apples.